From the legendary USS Nimitz to the groundbreaking USS Gerald R Ford, the United States of America is at the forefront of naval technology, with every vessel pushing the boundaries of what is possible. While the world is still recovering from previous aircraft carriers, the U.S.'s latest gigantic aircraft carrier, the CVN-81, has taken the world by shock with its sheer size and capabilities, and the question on everybody's mind is, how will this groundbreaking ship shape the future of naval warfare? What technology is behind the CVN-81 that sets it apart from its predecessors? Join us as we explore the capabilities of the United States' new gigantic aircraft carrier and how it has shocked the world. The United States Navy is a powerhouse on the global stage, boasting over a quarter of the world's aircraft carriers. But it's not just about the numbers. The strength and capabilities of these carriers are unmatched. And here's the kicker. If there's even a hint of a weakness, the Navy doesn't waste any time. They jump right into fine-tuning their ships to near invincibility. These aircraft carriers come in several varieties, each with its hull classification symbol. We have the CV, which stands for Aircraft Carrier, CVA for Attack Aircraft Carrier, CVB for Large Aircraft Carrier, CVL for Light Aircraft Carrier, CVE for Escort Aircraft Carrier, CVS for Anti-Submarine Aircraft Carrier, and CVN for Aircraft Carrier with Nuclear Propulsion. With these classes of aircraft carriers, the U.S. Navy has projected tonnage of its active battle fleet alone surpasses the next 13 navies combined. That includes 11 allies or partner nations of the U.S. as of 2009. As of 2023, it had the highest combined battle fleet tonnage, weighing in at a whopping 4,635,628 tons. In terms of personnel, the U.S. Navy is the third largest of the United States military service branches, with 336,978 personnel on active duty and 101,583 in the Ready Reserve. The Ready Reserve is a program run by the U.S. Department of Defense to maintain a pool of trained service members who can be called back to active duty if needed. This is further proof that the United States is all about being prepared, and they have a team of trained individuals ready to step in and serve when they're needed the most. And let's not forget about the deployable combat vessels and operational aircraft of the U.S. Navy. As of 2023, the U.S. Navy has 299 deployable combat vessels and about 4,012 operational aircraft. When it comes to aircraft carriers, the U.S. Navy is in a league of its own. It has the world's largest aircraft carrier fleet, with 11 in service, 1 undergoing trials, 2 new carriers under construction, and 6 more planned as of 2024, and combined with the strength of its allies, particularly Japan, the U.S. holds a significant advantage over China's Navy. This is a fact that is expected to persist into the future. Now, for a hypothetical scenario where the United States and China are at war. The United States would be ready to launch devastating cruise missile attacks on naval bases and other strategic locations within China. Even with minimal notice, the United States Navy has the capacity to unleash over 1,000 cruise missiles against mainland China in an initial assault that could span several days. That's the kind of firepower we're talking about here. One common method to determine the military strength of a country is to simply count the number of warships each country has. And guess what? Even with this simple count, the United States isn't being outpaced by China, according to the latest data. Now, you might have heard that China has the world's largest navy, but here's the thing. The United States has more powerful warships, the ones that are built for serious maritime warfare. Where China does have an edge is in the number of smaller, less heavily armed ships, and this could be a key factor if a conflict were to happen in a more localized area. Although China has anti-aircraft carrier ship missiles that were specifically built to destroy the U.S. ships, the United States is not lagging in the reinforcements of its aircraft carriers. The USS Doris Miller, CVN-81, is set to be the fourth Gerald R Ford class aircraft carrier of the United States Navy. The construction timeline is pretty excellent. The laying down of the ship is planned for January 2026, with a launch date set for October 2029. This carrier is massive, with a displacement of about 100,000 tons when fully loaded. It measures 1,106 feet in length, has a beam of 139 feet, and a draft of 39 feet. Powering this giant are two A-1B nuclear reactors, driving 4 shafts and allowing the ship to reach speeds over 39 knots. And the range? It's virtually unlimited, with the reactors providing power for 20 to 25 years. The ship is designed to carry a crew of 4,660 and is armed with surface-to-air missiles and close-in weapons systems. But what's really impressive is its capacity to carry more than 80 combat aircraft, potentially up to 90. And let's not forget the flight deck, which measures a whopping 1,092 feet by 256 feet. That's a lot of space for takeoffs and landings. To fully understand the massiveness and capability of this aircraft, it is important to take a look at its predecessor, the USS Miller FF-1091. This ship was named after Doris "Dory" Miller, a cook in the Navy, for his heroic actions during the attack on Pearl Harbor. These were actually derived from the Brooke-class frigate, but with a few modifications. The goal was to extend the range of the ship, and they did away with the long-range missile system. Let's take a look at the impressive dimensions of the predecessor of the CVN-81. The ship has an impressive overall length of 438 feet, a beam which is the width at the widest point. It also features a draft, which is the vertical distance between the waterline and the lowest point of the hull at 25 feet. This gives an idea of how massive the CVN-81 is, because its predecessor was a magnificent vessel. When it comes to displacement, which is the weight of the water displaced by the ship, we're looking at 4,066 long tons when fully loaded. And who's manning these ships? A crew of 13 officers and 211 enlisted men. The FF-1091 is equipped with a single Westinghouse-geared steam turbine. This turbine drives the single propeller shaft and is designed to produce a whopping 35,000 shaft horsepower. That's 26,000 kilowatts for those of you who prefer metric. They were armed with a 5-inch 54 caliber Mark 42 gun at the front and just one 3-inch 50 caliber gun at the back, and also had an 8-round RUR-5 ASROC launcher planted between the 5-inch gun and the bridge. For close-range anti-submarine defense, they were equipped with 2 twin 12.75-inch Mk-32 torpedo tubes. With regard to air support, these ships were equipped with a dash drone helicopter that carried torpedoes. The helicopter's telescoping hangar and landing pad were positioned amidships, right behind the MAC. But things changed in the 1970s. The dash was replaced by a SH-2 Sea Sprite Lamps I helicopter. This meant the hangar and landing deck had to be enlarged, and most of these ships had their 3-inch gun replaced by an 8-cell BPDMS missile launcher. This power comes from steam, provided by 2 CE boilers. With this setup, these ships can reach a designed speed of 27 knots. That's about 50 kilometers per hour or 31 miles per hour for those of you on land. But it's not just about speed. These ships also have an impressive range. The ship can travel 4,500 nautical miles at a speed of 20 knots. That's about 8,300 kilometers or 5,200 miles. They were armed with a 5-inch 54 caliber Mark 42 gun at the front and just one 3-inch 50 caliber gun at the back, and also had an 8-round RUR-5 ASROC launcher planted between the 5-inch gun and the bridge. For close-range anti-submarine defense, they were equipped with 2 twin 12.75-inch Mk-32 torpedo tubes. With regard to air support, these ships were equipped with a dash drone helicopter that carried torpedoes. The helicopter's telescoping hangar and landing pad were positioned amidships, right behind the MAC. But things changed in the 1970s. The dash was replaced by a SH-2 Sea Sprite Lamps Eye helicopter. This meant the hangar and landing deck had to be enlarged, and most of these ships had their 3-inch gun replaced by an 8-cell BPDMS missile launcher. Back to the futuristic aircraft carrier, which is also in the same class as the USS Doris Miller, Gerald R Ford class. It is common knowledge that the Gerald R Ford class is a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier and is currently being built for the United States Navy. This class of aircraft carriers is named after former U.S. President Gerald R Ford. The first ship, CVN-78, was procured in 2008 and commissioned into service on July 22, 2017. The second ship of the class, the John F. Kennedy, is scheduled to enter service in 2025. Let's start with the USS Enterprise CVN-80, also known as CVN-80, which is the namesake of the USS Enterprise CVN-65, and is also currently under construction like the CVN-81. The contract for this ship was awarded on the 23rd of May, 2016 to Huntington Ingalls Industries. The keel was laid down in April and officially recognized in August of 2022. The launch is planned for November 2025, and the commissioning is expected to take place in 2028. An interesting fact is that this class of Ford carriers is that they have advanced arresting gear. This is a big deal because it allows for safer and more efficient recovery of aircraft. Next, they have automation, which is a game changer because it allows these carriers to operate with a crew of several hundred, fewer than the Nimitz class carrier. These carriers are also equipped with the updated RIM-162 Evolved Sea Sparrow missile. This missile system provides enhanced ship defense. In terms of radar, they have an AN-SPY-3 X-band multifunction radar and an AN-SPY-4 S-band volume search radar. They are designated together as dual-band radar, initially developed for the Zumwalt-class destroyers. Starting with John F. Kennedy, the AN-SPY-6 will replace the AN-SPY-4 as the volume search component of the system. Moving on to the aircraft launch systems used by these carriers. That is the Electromagnetic Aircraft Launch System, or EMALS. Instead of traditional steam catapults, these aircraft use the EMALS, which allows for smoother and more efficient launching of aircraft. Powering these carriers is a new nuclear reactor design, the A-1B reactor, which provides greater power generation. This power source is smaller and simpler than the Nimitz-class A-4W reactor, and with this size, it requires fewer crew members to operate, yet it's far more powerful. Each Gerald R Ford class carrier will have 2 of these reactors installed. These reactors will provide a power generation capacity that's at least 25% greater than the 550 megawatts of the 2 A-4W reactors in a Nimitz-class carrier. They also have stealth features to reduce radar cross-section, making them harder to detect, and they also can carry up to 90 aircraft. This includes the Boeing FA-C-18EF Super Hornet, Boeing EA-18G Growler, Grumman C-2 Greyhound, Northrop Grumman E-2, Hawkeye, Lockheed Martin F-35C Lightning II, Sikorsky SH-60, Seahawk helicopters, and unmanned combat aerial vehicles. These ships are packed with sophisticated features that set them apart. First off, they're equipped with advanced arresting gear and an updated RIM-162 Evolved Sea Sparrow Missile System, or ESSM for short. This system is an upgrade from the RIM-7 Sea Sparrow, which was originally designed to protect ships from incoming missiles and aircraft. The ESSM has a specific purpose. It's designed to counter anti-ship missiles that can maneuver at supersonic speeds, and it has a unique feature where it can be quad-packed in the Mark 41 vertical launch system. This means that up to 4 ESSMs can be stored and launched from a single cell. They also feature an AN/SPY 3X band multifunction radar and an AN/SPY 4S band volume search radar, collectively known as the dual band radar. This was initially developed for the Zumwalt-class destroyers, but starting with the John F. Kennedy CVN-79, the AN/SPY 6 will replace the AN/SPY 4 as the volume search component of the system. But that's not all. These carriers also have an electromagnetic aircraft launch system, or EMALS for short, replacing the traditional steam catapults for launching aircraft. They're powered by a new nuclear reactor design, the A1B reactor, for greater power generation. Plus, they have stealth features to reduce radar cross-section. The EMALS is simply groundbreaking as an electromagnetic catapult and was developed by General Atomics for the United States Navy. Unlike the other traditional systems that use a steam piston, the EMALS launches carrier-based aircraft by using a catapult that is powered by a linear induction motor. This is truly impressive and a major leap forward in technology, as this system is more efficient and reliable. It has a couple of advantages. The first one is that it accelerates smoothly, which puts less stress on the aircraft, which in turn promotes the longevity of the carrier catapult system. The benefits, however, don't stop there when compared to traditional steam catapults. It is weightless and less expensive, which are two important factors the Navy. One of the most impressive features of EMALS is its versatility. It can launch both heavier and lighter aircraft than a steam piston-driven system. This opens up a whole new range of possibilities for carrier-based aircraft operations. And last but not least, EMALS reduces the carrier's requirement for fresh water. This in turn reduces the demand for energy-intensive desalination, making the system more environmentally friendly. The Gerald R Ford class carriers can carry up to 90 aircraft, including the Boeing FA-18EF Super Hornet, Boeing EA-18G Growler, Grumman C-2 Greyhound, Northrop Grumman E-2 Hawkeye, Lockheed Martin F-35, Sea Lightning II, Sikorsky SH-60, Seahawk helicopters, and unmanned combat aerial vehicles. One of the most noticeable differences from earlier supercarriers is the more aft location of the island or superstructure. These carriers also have a reduced whole life cost, which is thanks in part to a reduced crew size. They're designed to sustain 160 sorties per day for 30-plus days, with a surge capability of 260 sorties per day. Taking a journey back in time to explore the evolution of the Ford carriers from the CVS-1 to the CVS-81. We need to start at the very beginning to truly understand this development and groundbreaking advancements. The first aircraft carrier commissioned into the United States Navy was the USS Langley, also known as CV-1. This historic event took place in 1922. The Langley was just the start of a long line of aircraft carriers. It was soon followed by the Lexington-class carriers, and then came the USS Ranger, the first carrier in the American fleet that was purpose-built to be an aircraft carrier. After the Ranger, the Yorktown-class carriers were introduced, followed by the USS Wasp. These classes of carriers made up the entire active carrier fleet of the United States before the Second World War. As World War II was on the horizon, President Franklin Roosevelt commissioned two more classes of carriers. First, we have the Essex-class carriers. These are informally divided into two subclasses, those with a regular bow and those with an extended bow. Next up, we have the Independence-class carriers. These are classified as light aircraft carriers, a smaller and more versatile type of carrier. Between the Essex and Independence classes, a total of 35 ships were completed. That's a lot of firepower. At this time, the Navy also added two training vessels to its fleet, the USS Wolverine and the USS Sable. These ships were given a special hull designation, known as the Unclassified Miscellaneous, or 6. As World War II was drawing to a close, two new classes of carriers were constructed, the Midway class and the Saipan class. However, these ships were completed too late to see action in the war. But that doesn't mean they didn't play a crucial role in naval history. In fact, the Midway-class carriers went on to serve throughout the entire Cold War, a testament to their enduring design and capabilities. The first supercarriers to be launched during this period were the Forrestal class. This was followed by the Kitty Hawk class carriers. Then came the Enterprise, or CVN-65, which holds the distinction of being the first nuclear-powered carrier. The John F. Kennedy, or CV-67, was the last conventionally powered carrier to be built. Following these were the Nimitz class and the Gerald R Ford class nuclear supercarriers. These two classes are the only supercarriers currently in active duty service. The Nimitz class, consisting of 10 ships, was completed by 2009. In October 2019, Gerald R Ford was launched. This ship is the lead ship of the planned 10-ship Gerald R Ford class, which was followed by the launch of the John F. Kennedy, or CVN-79, in October 2019. Currently, construction is underway on the Enterprise, or CVN-80, and the Doris Miller, or CVN-81, which are truly gigantic aircraft that have evolved from a strong lifeline of truly impressive and overachieving aircraft carriers. Thanks for watching. While you are still here, click on the link on your screen to check out another of our videos. See you there.